I think I have to press OK. There we go.
Yes. So, hello, my friend. It is so fun to be face to face with you, Mr. Tulsy. I am so excited to have you on today because, as you know, I hope I'm your number one fan, but I'm guessing there you have a lot of them.
I'm your
Um,
number one fan.
y
So,
you are? You're your
yes,
number.
absolutely.
Um, so you're number one fan, or you're my number one fan?
I'm yours.
You're okay.
I'm yours.
That's what I thought you said. Thank you. Then the feelings are mutual. I think so. You are the founder. Are you the founder of Chagit 360?
I am. So my brother and I started the company together, and we used to make television shows together. We had a production company, and we traveled the world and made documentaries for Discovery Channel, History Channel.
Mm,
Had a great career in what is a brutal industry, and I often say that the times when I was out in the wilderness, with a lens and a crew filming nature and man versus nature, which is a lot of it.
mm,
That was the joy. Coming back to the city and having to deal with networks was hell. Uh,
yeah.
but it was I did it for 20 years, and I met some
Mm,
incredible people along the way and got exposed to some really interesting worlds, and had a lot of success with a project that we did in Alaska. So the network was looking for more projects there, and we started doing a show about the natives who hunted after this crazy mushroom and would go out in the winter and harvest it, and it was their root medicine that was a gift from the Great Spirit, and so we started doing a show about them, and in the process, our sister at the time was fighting cancer, and
mm,
our research on the mushroom during the show had shown that it had been studied for its use versus cancer in other countries, and so we thought it might be good for her, and it helped her during her fight against cancer, and I'm happy to say that she is
which
11 years cancer free from breast cancer, which is amazing.
and te-
Uh,
and the name of this little beast of a mushroom.
as Chaga. So Chaga was our introduction to the world, and so the network decided that the mushroom was too ugly and people couldn't identify with it, so they didn't make a show. Which whatever. Like I
Their
said,
loss. Their loss.
they're lost. Networks are hell. But we had made friends with a lot of the natives in Alaska who harvest it, and so we went to them and said, "Hey, we want to make products from this. Would you guys be our harvest network?" And they said, "Absolutely." So that's how we built our first network, and the natives and locals and the different villages throughout Alaska. Um,
Wow.
and we
And
started
when you
making.
say
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, when you say natives, is this indigenous Alaskan people? Are these Eskimo people? Are these like Native Americans that have traveled there? What kind of natives?
So they are indigenous Alaskans. They are
Okay.
different tribes. Eskimo are the ones that you would more identify that live in the tundra area
Hmm.
where there are actually no trees. They live north of the
Okay.
Arctic Circle. The indigenous peoples that we work with are south of the Arctic Circle in the boreal forest, which is the birch forest.
Oh,
And so
wow.
they speak Athabaskan, and they identify usually more as they're Inuit and
Oh, Inuit.
Yupik and Upik peoples.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you to all indigenous around the world. It's so important for me, is part of the reciprocity of being somebody who gets to ingest these medicines. Without them, we don't have them, and this is not easy to, from what I understand, and you filmed about this, like harvesting this, I couldn't just go and do this.
It is not easy. I mean, just the fact of where they're going, the fact that to do it in a sustainable manner, they're going deep into the forest. They're doing it on a rotational pattern where they're not taking too much from any one area of the forest, which means you got to go deep back in. They're going in by sled. They spend a week during the winter out in the out away from the road systems. Each chaga, when they find it, they have to climb up a tree because it's not growing at the level where you can easily reach it. It's 12 to 15 feet up on the tree. So it is definitely a labor of love and part of their native tradition. But like I said, they believe that the Great Spirit gifted them, and I think that's something you find with a lot of the indigenous peoples around the world that have the natural medicines that are really at the basis for which all medicine started. Long before there was a lab and there were people trying to find a way to synthesize petroleum compounds to make precipitates to turn into isolated drugs. There were wise men and wise women who went out into the forest and found herbs and mushrooms and took them and created tinctures and decoctions and extracts from them and utilized that for healing. Modern medicine has done that. I mean, if you look at it, they would like you to believe otherwise. But you're in a willow bark tea is what aspirin comes from. 45% of the medicines that we use that are pharmaceutical based come from the fungi kingdom, and the other 55% come from the plant kingdom, along with a few that come from the world of bacteria, which are mainly our antibiotics. And antibiotics are really just one bacteria that's really good at killing all the rest of the bacteria, and that's what penicillin is. So, most of them, they're either mold based or they're bacterial based. Every medicine comes from the natural world. And long before we had someone in a doctor's coat in a lab making it, we had a tribal elder who was wise in the ways of the world in the woods who was making it. So that's what we're very fortunate to learn from them and be able to share what they found.
You are speaking to my heart. Thank you for sharing that in that way. I share about this all the time. This is why it's good for me to interview other people in this way that I always say, I know so much because this is the world I'm in and I believe in it and I live this world and I am connecting with indigenous ways. It's hard for me to speak to it and to the science behind it and trying to explain Rockefeller medicine and understanding that, these plants were doing this work already. But then when Rockefeller needed to sell he had investments in petroleum and needed to have a way to use it. And he brought that into the medical system. Then he created medical schools to sell those products. It's very hard to get that all out there so people can understand this isn't woo-woo. This isn't like some crazy thing. This is how the world has been for thousands of years. We are such a baby in this space. And profit has really been at the base of so much of the medical system, which is why, like I said, I'm so grateful just what you've shared just now. It's like this passion to keep these indigenous ways, this wisdom is a gift, like you say, from the Great Spirit. And for us to be able to have access, that's the beauty of modern times, is the fact that you guys were up there with your video cameras and doing this very technology based thing and got connected to indigenous ways, and then are bringing those indigenous ways to someone like me, who I met you guys at Music Fest in Nevada City, and I want to say it had to be. What year did you start your company?
We started the company in 2015, so it's been
Okay.
10 years. But
Wow.
we met at World Music Fest in 2019. Under
Oh,
the
2019.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
it's
And I
been it's been 6 years.
it feels like it's even been longer than that. It's so beautiful to me. And something that struck me, and I tell people when I share this story, is, and I would love to hear more from you guys, but you started off and you had these little wellness shots, and
Yep.
they were the Chagit shots. And I was like, a lot more than that. And I was just like, I need serious amounts of this, and that's not going to make sense financially or to the
Yeah.
planet in that. And you were like, cool. How about we can just put some into this crystal geyser like gallon jug, and you can have that. And I was like, okay. There's something so true. Getting away from in the medical world, so many things are about liability and getting sued, and oh well, if this doesn't have a label on it, or if it's this or that, that it's not going to be okay. And I loved how you were just like, you've sent me many bottles that have sample things on them, and you're like, try this. And I just love this ability to work with what is like. That's what I've seen as your company has grown, which I mean, from where you were to here you are now is just incredible. And I would love to, what I share so much is how much you guys care. And I tell my community of most of people in the cancer world, especially a big part of my audience is stage 4 cancer, breast cancer especially. But I'm like, these guys care about us like
Yeah.
deeply. And so I would love to hear about that evolution with your sister's cancer diagnosis. I'm guessing started that, and anything else you want to share about why you care so much about making these products for us, like how that shows up for you guys.
Um, well, I'm actually, I think, more shocked sometimes when somebody doesn't care. And I think that really kind of blows me away. Is it because I was raised to believe that that's part of what's being a good person,
Mm,
and that is, that care for your fellow human being, in this journey that we're all going through together. That should be how you operate. You operate with care for other people. You do what you can to try and make their life better. And I will tell you that we have gone through quite a journey with this company, and it has been at times incredibly difficult. And I'm sure those will not end. If you're trying to do something good, trials come at you. It's the way it is. I understand that, and we have dealt with with a lot of trials and tribulations along the way. And uh, every single time that I thought that it was over, or it was coming to an end, or I couldn't deal with it, we would get an email or a text or a message from someone whose life we had been part of and whose life we had helped and made better. And
yeah.
that has it's the reason I'm here. It was the reason that we've been able to keep going, and without question, the reason that we've continued to search, continued to try to evolve, continued to try to make better products, continued to try and utilize our research and our ability and our assets. And the fact that we have a big, beautiful manufacturing facility and extraction and processing facility to be able to do that,
Yeah.
because we have capability that most people don't. It cost us a couple $1,000,000 and took us years to get here. And so,
Yeah.
in order to have that, we have the capability to do things that most people don't. and we would be look, I wouldn't be able to look my mom in the face if I didn't do something with what I got.
Oh.
And that's the truth. And
Mhm.
so for the breast cancer community, um, it is the reason why God brought us to where we are. That's how we came down the path, and so it is of critical importance to us to be able to support and do what we can. And the studies that we've been involved with, that we have provided extracts for, provided raw materials for, have been have been in that interest, and really so that we can kind of try to understand a little better uh, what these mushrooms are doing, understanding the method of action, understanding the pathways and the mechanisms, how they work, so that we're able to deliver something that is a better product, something that has more efficiency,
Yeah.
something that helps people more. The reality is that modern medicine has gotten some things incredibly right in terms of being able to address trauma,
Yeah.
in terms of
Yeah.
surgical precision, and the technology that is involved in early detections of cancers and everything. I mean, it is incredible what modern medicine
Yeah.
can do. But
Yeah.
you also need to look. That's why we believe that everything in life is at the intersection of nature and technology. It's
Mhm.
what the world has given us and that we were born with, and then what we can devise with our minds to make the best of it. And so if you
Mm.
leave the best of what the world has given you, the gifts that nature has given you, and you try and operate without that, you can't do everything just by what you can create with your brain. You have to take both. You have to be able to utilize those gifts and then apply what God gave you here and turn that to a greater purpose. And so,
Mm.
that's what we try to do, is apply
You're
the
doing it.
best of technological principles with the greatest gifts of nature.
I love that so much. And I love, again, hearing like how it came about. You're not just like, oh, we should create this product and there's like these mushrooms out there. Like you got to experience it in such a natural, pure way because they grow. I mean, I'm curious if you would like to share about um, what you know about the difference of a fruiting body and mushrooms growing in the wild versus uh, mushrooms that are grown in laboratories and things. I'm curious what what you can tell us about that, what we need to know as the laymen.
Well, there is a drastic difference, and we're part of a group that there were six different companies that have harvest networks throughout the world that provided chaga for a study that was recently published on wild harvested chaga and its compounds versus the chaga mycelium grown in a lab. And they are so vastly different, they might as well be, they're different species. Like,
Wow.
because the chaga, the conch that you see that's harvested, that's not just the mushroom. That is a result of the battle for life between the mushroom and the tree. Many of the compounds in that chaga conch come from the tree. They are metabolized from the tree. They're the tree's immune system fighting with the
Mm.
mushroom that's living on it, and then the mushroom converting the tree's immune system into compounds that our immune system uses. So mycelium grown on grain does not show any of those compounds, and we've been able to prove that. We were part of the first
Mm.
groundbreaking study that proved without a shadow of a doubt that chaga mycelium and actual wild harvested chaga conch are completely different. Their chemical profile is different. The compounds within them are different. The levels of those compounds are different. They're as different as a human and a fish. Well, maybe more like a human and a mouse, but there's a broad difference between them. They are both mammals, but they're a little different.
Yeah. And that makes again, thank you for being able to eloquently share what I just know intuitively. Like, it makes sense to me, wildly grown. And so, I mean, in a nutshell, it's like why it's helping us with our immunity is because these things are battling and using their immunity for it. And we just happen to be able to benefit from that as well. And again, I think it's with most things in healing, it's not just your diet, it's not just your emotions, it's not just your physical body. Like, we have to have all the compounds, and that's what I think is so true about nature. It's like the air, the kind of trees, the environment that it's in. Like, you're getting, it's so much, the birds that live in those trees, like every little thing
Counts.
Matters. Yeah.
Absolutely. Everything in this life is a synergy. There is energy that binds everything together. The frequency that everything operates on. There's so many different aspects that make up what we are and what life is, and the synergy between them has to be complete. I mean, you look at you talk about it specifically from a healing standpoint for cancer. It is a systemic issue. It's not just a tumor. It's something that happens within our body. And so we need to be able to bring every aspect of our body into harmony in order to be able to create an environment where the cancer no longer thrives. And that's what we're trying to do from every aspect. That's what someone who's fighting it is attempting to do, is bring their body back to wholeness.
Yeah, exactly.
And that, I mean, it really feeds into every aspect of what we do. You need to have a holistic, complete approach. We have to have a complete approach to extraction in our process. If we're just using one principle, we wouldn't get the potency that we're going after, that we're trying to achieve. If we just use temperature, well, no, that doesn't work, because one temperature doesn't do it. You have to use multiple different temperatures at different points. You can't just use water. You have to use water. You have to use glycerin. You can't just use different types of solvents. You have to use sound. We utilize sonication. We utilize vibration. We use evaporation. We're using everything we can. We're throwing the kitchen sink and try and get everything out of them, because you throw the kitchen sink at your body and try and give it the best you can.
Yeah, I love that. And as a medicine maker myself, working with the cannabis, again, I work with it so intuitively. And now I am, like, my mentor is a doctor, and he's written a book, Dr. Joe Goldstritch. He wrote a book about the cannabis cancer connection. And he talks about just one, like, it's not just one strain, it's many strains from different areas. And also about the processing. It is using different processing, different, whether you're using one or an ethanol here and an oil there, or different kinds, that all of these things, like you say, just grab a little bit more of this plant. And what I understand is that it's like all of those little things, they add up to a bigger thing. Like, could this one be okay? Could that be fine? And I'm guessing, is that what a lot of the companies out there, do you see that it's like they have one way of extraction, or that they're more narrow focus?
For most of them, they're just relying upon a supplied ingredient that was manufactured, because most companies are brands. They don't do
Mm-hmm.
their own manufacturing. They do
Mm,
marketing, and that's
good,
what they
good.
do. They bring in their capital, and instead of building a big facility, they rely on a co-packer, on a co-manufacturer to buy an isolated ingredient, put those ingredients together at a certain ratio, throw it in a bag, and sell it. And that's 90% of the business. But
Mm,
it's not, certainly not the most effective way to get nutrients and to get everything
right,
you want. And
right.
you're people may find this interesting, but the study. So we did a study with Dr. Stephen Barnhill and Dr. Herb Fritchie from MD Anderson, which is a cancer center
Mm.
in Houston.
A
And
lot of my a lot of my clients know that space. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a great
so
hospital.
and Dr. Herb Fritchie was the head of new drug development for MD Anderson, and the study that we did showed that that the combination of mushrooms and a full spectrum cannabinoid extract they actually had a cumulative effect that was greater than each of the two individual components. So mushrooms and cannabinoids play very well in the sandbox together, and
I know this well.
we have seen evidence of that in the tests that we've been part of.
I love that, and that is, again, from day I started my cannabis journey a week into my stage 4 diagnosis. And it wasn't long after I was gifted a year and a half supply of high dose. It was a mushroom powder, and it was a company that was giving to people with breast cancer. And they gave me these huge bags. And they told me, and again, it was very edgy. I felt that they were like, this is how much to take for, you can't, like, usually on the, on a package, it's like, take a teaspoon of this. And I'm like, if you're healing serious cancer, we are
Yeah,
not following what those directions are. And they were like, take, you know, thousands of, I don't know if it was grams or milligrams or whatever of these products. And I did that for a year and a half, married with my cannabis, and I was tumor free in a year and a half and have been tumor free ever since. What I have happening in my body right now, I don't know. But I was like, when you said the Trinity was here, I started crying. Like, I'm not even joking. I preach this every day. Chaga, turkey tail reishi. Chaga, turkey tail reishi. These are our friends. And these, to me, like, you can't go wrong. Um,
yeah.
are there any, is there anybody that should not be taking mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms in this way? Have you
Uh,
found?
those three, absolutely not. I would say if you're pregnant, then probably you want to avoid cordyceps, at least
Okay.
until you're done with your pregnancy or stop breastfeeding,
Okay.
specifically because cordycepin can accelerate the heart rate of infants. Um,
Okay. Good to
so
know.
that's it's a tidbit to
Good.
know, but
Good to know.
chaga, turkey tail, reishi are safe for all ages, and frankly, I think everyone should be taking them. Uh,
Yeah.
I think you'll be happy to know that the turkey tail does definitely come from your neck of the woods. We're getting it from Klamath up in Oregon. So
Ah,
it's just to the north of you is where our turkey tail source is. And one of the big things for us with the Trinity was establishing a supply chain that we felt was really of the highest potency and the highest purity. That was also very reliable and domestic to North America. So the turkey tails wild harvested from Southern Oregon. The reishi is wild harvested in the hemlock forests of Ontario, Canada, and the chagas from Alaska. So all of them are highest potency. They're all from beautiful virgin forest, ancient growth, and they're as it should be, because in that environment where you have all of those factors of that specific microbiome that exists in that place, you're going to get the highest potency. So
Yeah.
that was really a key for us, was being able to establish a source for all three
Hmm.
that we knew we could rely upon.
Right. I love that. And the Klamath, if you haven't been to the Klamath space, like it is so potent. I was sitting in Sweat Lodge last night with people from the Klamath, and the energetics, it's not, again, it's not something that I ever thought about in my old life when I was getting something off of a shelf, and um, whether it was a medicine or food. And now that I'm connecting with that land, I'm connecting with those ways. The protection of that area, the prayers that are put into that area, it's something I talk about a lot. Is these things, all these little things, like you're saying, they all are a part of this picture. And
Absolutely.
knowing that this medicine is being tended to, cared for, harvested by people who care about this land, and that it's not raping the land, it's not leaving the land worse off for other people, or nature itself and the animals that live there. It's a delicate, dance. And it's something that I've seen, and we've seen it in the cannabis industry when it became legal. What you get in a dispensary now, it's like the isolates, the distillates, we pulled this, we pulled that. They say it's full spectrum. It's not. And that's what I'm saying. Like when I make my medicine, I'm like, you don't understand what I do, to like, it is not just me, like, yeah, somebody throwing me some stuff and me just bottling it.
Yeah.
It's the whole process. And so the fact that you, to me, like, I mean, I consider you like a big company. I can buy a big product from you. I pay you money and you can, send me something like that. You care on this level. That was the last video I made, was just, it is important for me to spend my dollars, my hard earned money, on healing things for myself with companies that care about me, my health, and the earth, because we need each other. And so when I saw, so when I went to order the other night and I messaged Tulsy, and I was like, you've been, and also what I love is like, you get on the phone, you get on the email, and I'm like, like, I have these things and they're growing in my body. And I mean, like, I met you one time in my life, but I feel like you care, and that I felt safe to be like, I don't know what's happening, and you're like, all right, let's get you better.
Yeah.
And we've
Figure it
been
out.
taking all the mushrooms, and then I ran out, and I was like, and I always tell my clients, I'm just like, Jim, and he'll answer. Like, like you'll hear from him or somebody, and I'm just like, hey, what should I order? Doing these for and you're like, got you.
I got
and
you.
and then you're like, Trinity, you're like, we've got the Trinity with the turkey tail, the chaga, and the reishi. And I literally cried because I was like, fuck, this dude cares so much about us. And I think a lot of times, I know for myself and the people I support, we can feel very alone in this space, and it can be very confusing. There
Yeah.
are a bazillion products out there that are promoted to us that are going to make us better, and they're garbage. And so to know, and that's why, like, I've been wanting to do interviews for a while, and I was just like, I want to talk to you because I want you to be able to explain what I just feel in this product. I feel the integrity, I feel the healing, and I have a few other companies, mushroom companies, that I've used in the past, and that are like, one of them very specifically, two of them very high qualities, but very different products. This is the one I have stayed with consistently. I took like a little bit of a break for a while, and then you guys came back with these, and then
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, game on. I was like, game on. And so what I love about this is I use it as my sweetener.
Mhm.
And So what I understand is that this is the straight mushrooms and it's in this glycerin. And the glycerin helps it to be sweet. And so I use this instead of maple honey, definitely not cane sugar, but as my sweetener. I use it in my cacao, I use it in my smoothies, I use it in my tea. I use it, and that's when I ran out. I was like, oh, what am I going to put in my tea now? And I still use honey, but I'm curious about the glycerin. Can you tell us about how, why, and what that means for us? And are all glycerins created equally? Like if we see glycerin in another product, is that okay? Tell
So
me.
they are not. So our glycerin specifically is coconut derived, and it is made from the husks and the shells of coconuts after the meat is removed for making cold pressed coconut. And
Mm,
specific there, so it is. It's kosher. It's 99.7% US or USP food grade coconut glycerin. So it is of the highest quality. And when you do the extraction of lipids from a mushroom, you have to go after those lipids with either ethanol or something that is a non-polar solvent. And so
okay.
glycerin acts as a non-polar solvent. But what's
Mm,
great is it is also a emulsifier. So what happens is we're able to extract the subset of compounds that are the lipids from the mushrooms with the glycerin. We are then also able to extract the water-based compounds, the polar compounds, with water. And then when we blend the water and the glycerin together, and we do an evaporation, then the carbohydrates, the polar compounds that were in the water, are then transferred and carried over into the glycerin. And what's unique
mm,
about our process is we have a very specific temperature that we do that at, and it's a lower temp that we have it dialed into, and that results in a caramelization of the starches that were in the water side of it. They become caramelized into the glycerin side of it. And so glycerin, in its native sweetness, is zero point 0.7 to sugar. And when we're
okay.
done with the transfer of the mushrooms compounds and the caramelization of those starches, it's at 1.3 times the sweetness of sugar. So it doubles the native sweetness of the glycerin and
Wow.
basically makes it a stabilized syrup. And so that's what
Wow.
allows it to retain the potency of those compounds and retain them for, at minimum 3 years.
Wow.
So,
Thank you for that. That's like one of the that's it's funny because when I would tell people about it, and I'm like, it's just in this glycerin. And I'm like, part of me felt like glycerin. I was like, is that a good thing? And this is me. I'm like, if Tulsi is giving this to me, I know that it is. And I figured it was different. So thank you for that explanation. And that's what I love about it. It's that it's a so many times in our lives, in for me in this space, so many supplements. Everything is, how do I get my body healthier with more things in it? And this is like an effortless way for me. And that's what I realized when I ran out, because I was like, oh, using a powder, it's not the same, or an alcohol based tincture. I really don't like that, the way that feels in my mouth. So many things I take taste like garbage. They're just yucky anyways. And so to have something that's like, this is really good for you, it's literally helping your body in more ways than I could even imagine. And it's like replacing something that's not good for me, and it tastes good and fun. I mean, I just go through these bottles. And so, like, for somebody like me, I'm taking a lot more of it than like what it says on it's one to a couple teaspoons a day. I'm taking a couple tablespoons a day. So I just I know you've got places to go, and so I would love to even have another conversation in the future, because this is, to me, I am guessing my community is going to really appreciate this, because there's so much information out there and it can be really hard to sift through what is true and what's not. And when people are selling things, sometimes it's very hard to trust, and that's why intuitively I met you guys that day, and you have shown me and proved to me that I can trust you. And for a company that I'm spending money with, that's very important to me. And again, I just thank you for your due diligence of like doing these, these tests, and being willing to work with places like MD Anderson, like hallelujah, and showing the science side of things through the mushrooms, and letting us be married in this modern way, and having this be such an amazing product. I just, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. And I've shared about you guys so much, and so many of my people are like, thank you so much for sharing about this mushroom product, because I feel so much better, my body feels better. And it's just like, it's a beautiful way to commune with these incredible mushrooms, and I encourage people to learn more about mushrooms and learn more about the benefits of mushrooms, because they are so smart and so intelligent, and so, to me, just an integral part of healing. And now we're starting to science is catching up, finally, in how they work. So thank you for your dedication to this, and thank you for just being an amazing steward of this medicine. And to your crew, I imagine, how many people on your team?
Well, it's me and my brother, and then we have a few people that are remote, and then 4 on the team here. And
Wow.
bring in some extras depending on what we're doing manufacturing, but 6
You're
of
do-
us here on a daily basis.
okay, you're doing some heavy lifting, Tulsi.
Yeah,
And
I'm not scared.
yeah, and you're
Not gifted
emailing
with
too.
broad shoulders. So
Well, I am grateful for you, and I know that so many people are going to benefit. So thank you for taking your time out today. I know you're a busy guy, and I'm excited to share more. And I'll put my link down in the, I'll put the little code
yeah,
down in the thing, so people, my community, can get a discount on that. And if people have questions for you about, what product is best or something, is emailing the best way to get a hold of you guys, or?
send me a DM on Instagram to @Chagit360. That's
Okay.
CHAGIT 360.
60.
And yeah, just
And
follow
I'll
us,
put that down below.
direct message us. I'm the one answering. So if you
Yeah.
DM me, then you got me, and
Yeah.
I'll answer any questions you have. And
Amazing.
like I said, I'm here to help. So obviously, I think our products are fantastic. But if it's not
They are.
with you, it's not about that. I'll do everything I can to answer your questions.
Yeah. I appreciate you so much, and blessings on you. And please keep doing this, because I'm appreciative, and I'm here for, I don't want to not be without this product. So thank you.
We'll keep.
And and I mean, and that's not even the face bar. It's also a little side note. Like, they make this face bar. I don't even know what's in it, but there's chaga. And it's just like, I come from a cosmetics background, and to have this softness, I'm like, yes. So go to the Chagit website. I'll put all the links down below so you can find them online and peruse their products. But I love you guys. Thank you for being here. And thank you for sharing this information about the product, so we can understand how it works in our body even better.
You are welcome, and thank you for having me on. And I look forward to catching up. I always love
Yes.
to hear updates and see your wonderful smiling face. So
Thank you. Thank you
thank you.
so much. All right. We'll see you soon, Chelsea.
Bye bye.